We're going to talk about tweaking your back, muscle spasms that come with people who tweak their back, what to do at home to try and correct that problem. And the main cause is going to be an unleveling or a pelvic fault, which means a rotation in the hips here. Normally they move back and forth, you can see there. What can happen is they can get stuck or jammed. That causes the hips to be unlevel and want to be rotated forward and backwards. That's going to cause a lot of pressure in the low back on those nerves, and those muscles will spasm out. First thing we want to do is try and break that muscle spasm, because that's what's causing and contributing a lot to the pain and the intensity of the pain that you're having. So first thing to do is ice and ice and ice and ice. No heat. You want to ice for 20 minutes on, 40 minutes off, and just do that as much as you can. It's going to cut down on that pain and muscle spasm more than anything else. Next thing we want to do is work on those muscles that are in spasm. We want to get some oxygen to them, and we want to try and get those back to normal. We're going to use a lacrosse ball, and then we're going to use a peanut shape that we created with two lacrosse balls taped together with athletic tape. That creates this little tool right here. This one is for going along the muscles along the low back. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. We're also going to work along, you'll get some pain radiating through these glute muscles in the buttock. We're going to work on those there with the single lacrosse ball. And then we're also going to come to the front, just inside the hip bone here. We're going to work on a muscle called your psoas, which attaches to the lower lumbar or low back, those bones there, and can pull and put a lot of pressure on the low back and contribute to that. So you've iced. Now we want to work on those muscles. First we're going to start with this double lacrosse ball. We're going to get our feet propped up. We're going to place this right with the spine in between the two balls. We're going to tighten and contract the stomach, and then we're going to push the hips down towards the ground into that lacrosse ball, working on those muscles there. You can hold that, or you can try and roll a little bit with that pressure up and down the spine. Move to a new spot, do the same thing. Keep the stomach tight, push the hips down towards the ground, put some pressure into those muscles. Hold that, maybe move just a little bit up and down on that. Spend some time there, a minute or two. Come to the front of the hip along that psoas muscle. You're going to put that ball right there. You're going to pin it in between you and the ground, and you're going to work along that muscle left to right, back and forth along that muscle. What that looks like is right here. And you're just going to spend time, just real small movement, moving back and forth, left to right, along that psoas muscle. Come to the back of the hip, along the buttock, glute muscles. You're going to pin those muscles in between that ball, and you're going to work again left to right on that, up and down on that. Spend a little bit, 2 minutes there, just finding those sore, tender spots and working on that muscle spasm. Now we want to move on to actually correcting that rotation or unleveling in the hips. We got 3 exercises to do that. And we're going to use our own muscles to create some tension on those joints to open them up and mobilize them. First thing you want to do is grab this knee here and put your hand on top here. You're going to push down with the right knee and pull up with the left. You're going to hold that contraction for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then what you want to do is you want to switch and go in the opposite direction, alternate, coming up with the right leg and pushing down with the left. And hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You want to alternate back and forth, doing a couple sets, repetitions of that. The second exercise we're going to do is to get a pillow or a ball, something that you can squeeze in between the knees. You're going to place that in between the knees there. You're going to squeeze the knees together. You're going to hold that for that contraction for 5 seconds, and then relax. Squeeze again, hold for 5 seconds. What we're working on again is those joints in the pelvis, getting those to unlock, getting the hips to level out, correcting that pelvic fault, and that's going to take pressure off the back. The third one and last one that we're going to do, distraction on the hip and the low back. The way we're going to do that is by using this jump stretch band. You're going to wrap that ankle up in it really good there. You're going to scoot your body away to get some tension and some distraction in that. And what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze, contract the glute muscles, tighten up the stomach, hold that for 5 seconds, and then relax and let that band pull and distract on that hip and the low back. And just relax there, let that distraction take effect. Then you're going to squeeze and contract again in that glute and that hip and that low back. Hold for 5 seconds and then relax. Let that distraction take effect. That's really going to open up those joints in the low back. Again, correcting that pelvic fault, taking pressure off the nerves, and really giving you a lot of relief. If that doesn't seem to help, I really suggest going to see your chiropractor.